Hey everyone, it's Lynnea for LDRS Creative, and today we're making another Flip Flap Trio card. I'm going to be creating more of a masculine color scheme than I did with my first card, but it's still going to be fun, happy, and just full of fun interactive surprises. Now, like I said, I do have another video showing some other designs for this set. And I also have a video that just focuses on the assembly of the interactive portion of this card. And I used contrasting colors of cardstock. I zoomed in close and I went slow so that you can easily see how to build this card. To start with for this video, I went ahead and stamped some images, and these are images that I did not color in my previous video. So if you want to see how I colored like the little cupcake or the ice cream sundae, the ice cream scoop in the little cup, head over to my other video and you can check that out too. I used the same exact coloring techniques. I'm quite simple when I color. I like to start with just the darkest marker that I have for my color combo. So in this case, I'm starting with a darker blue. Then I blend out with my lighter. There are lots of ways to color, so I encourage you to make this fun and to just go however you like to color. So for instance, for this one, my greens, I don't have any that are really kind of close to each other, so I did start with a layer of my lightest color and then blended that out. But with my blues, I have some right next to each other, and it's a smaller area to color, so I like to go dark, medium, light. Same thing for this ice cream sundae here. These images are small to color, so you're going to see me start with my darkest to get some dimension and then blend it out. I went with a really traditional color scheme here. I just kind of kept to my vanillas for the cake, vanilla with some blue icing, and then my ice cream sundae, very traditional. I have a yellow banana in the middle, then I'm going to have a red cherry on top. My ice cream flavors are that regular Neapolitan style ice cream where I have vanilla, chocolate, and then some strawberry. But I do want to encourage you to step outside of the box if you want to. I think it would be really fun to color maybe some mint chocolate chip ice cream. You could even grab a black pen and add some little dots for the chocolate chips. You can make any color ice cream that you want. That's the fun thing about working with paper and markers, is you can totally just do whatever is in your mind's eye. Once I have all of those colored, I'm going to go back and stamp my sentiment. And this is something that I did in my other video as well. I kind of created an ombre effect. So here I am. I'm going to start with a light yellow. I didn't have the exact shade of yellow that I wanted, which is totally fine when you're working with inks, because if you have a lighter color, you can stamp this 3 or 4 times like I did and build up that color to get the saturation that you want. Now from here, I'm going to take my darker yellow, which is a color, it's one of my favorite yellow colors. I use it all the time, but I wanted it to be my mid color. And I'm just going to ink up the bottom of my sentiment, and I'm going to wipe off that line with my stamp cloth to soften that layer so that I get nice blending. Now at the bottom, I'm going to come in with an orange, just at the very bottom. And again, I'm going to grab my stamp cloth and dab, dab, dab away that line so I don't get any harsh inking. And that gives me a nice ombre. Now, because the lightest yellow was a super light color, I did go back and kind of stamp over this to smooth everything out. Now I'm going to grab the dies, and you'll see that there are dies for the sentiment as well as for each of the little icons. All I have to do is just locate them on my sheet and just cut them out. Now it's time to do the interactive portion of the card. I have a standard top folding landscape style card base. I cut out my panel from some blue checked cardstock. Then I also have my pull tab, and I matched that to the color of my card base. I have 3 of these little kind of like people, pawns, and then you can have your choice of your rectangle. You have a scalloped rectangle, which I used on my other card. So for this one, I decided to go with just the solid edged rectangle. And you do need 6 of those, 3 for the front and then 3 to glue onto the back to create that flip-flap interactive. So I went ahead and inked up the bottom with, this is my middle yellow color. This is the one that I really love. This is Dandelion from LDRS Creative. And I'm just going to ink up the bottom. I'm keeping that ink harsher at the bottom so that you can really see that, and then blending it up, and it's just plain white at the top. Let's go ahead and start building this card. This panel is going to be right on top, of my card. It's going to be that front panel that you see. And I want to make sure that I have the notch for the interactive sliding mechanism cut into my card base. So I took that half circle die and I just cut that right out of the right side of my card, and you can see now how this is all going to line up. My sentiment's going to go at the bottom, and then my flip-flap panels will line up there at the end too. Let's go ahead and start kind of folding these pieces and gluing them in place. So I started by gluing down that little square piece, just folding that over and pinching that in place. Then the little edges are going to fold up on the side, and that half hexagon is going to fold down as well. I'm only gluing that square piece down. The rest are just folding and they are free moving. Again, I do have another video showing the assembly and the inner workings of this interactive card on the LDRS Creative YouTube channel, and I do encourage you to watch that as it's slowed down and zoomed in and really goes step by step. I'm going to finish off with the third little pawn piece here, just folding those arms in, folding that half a hexagon down. Then I'm moving on to the pull tab. And there are two little notches that are cut into that. The die does that itself. You don't have to do any extra work. I'm going to glue down that half a hexagon piece so that the folded edge is butted right up against the one score line. I like to use liquid adhesive for this so that it gives me some chance to kind of shimmy and move that piece around if I need to adjust the positioning, but you can use a strong double-sided adhesive if you want. Glue is just my preference. I'm doing the same thing with the second piece. That fold line is going to go right up against that score line. And now for this third one, I'm adding glue again to that bottom half hexagon piece, but there is no score line for this, and instead the fold line butts right up against and it's totally flush with the left edge of the pull tab. Now it's time to lock these pieces in place, so to do that I'm folding up on the score lines of the pull tab. And this not only reinforces the pull tab by making it double thick, but it also kind of glues that pawn type piece in place. I'm going to do that with the first all the way over on the left and then that middle piece. That last one though, I'm going to leave for a minute because you can see there's a little arrow cut out of it, and that is the guideline for the recipient to know that they need to pull. That arrow kind of, it insinuates to do something, but when you fold it over on itself, it's hard to see it when it's tone on tone with that maroon cardstock. So I'm just going to grab a piece of scrap white cardstock and glue that onto the inside of my pull tab. And now you can see when I fold that over, that white really pops and you're able to easily see that arrow. Now I'll glue that closed and just pinch that in place and hold it. This is my finished pull tab piece. This next step is really easy. Those white folded bits are going to go right up into the cut lines that are in that front panel. And because this is a pattern paper, it's hard to see this next part here, especially where I pushed those white pieces up through. So again, I do encourage you to watch my other YouTube video because I used cardstock that kind of clash, so you can easily see what I'm doing. Now from here I added foam tape to the back of my blue checked panel, making sure that I was not going to interfere with that pull tab mechanism. And I'm going to pop that up onto my card base, aligning that notch on the right side so that everything is flush and working properly. Here's my #1 tip for working with this interactive set as well as with any interactive card. Make sure that you're working your interactive mechanism, so for this one, the pull tab, with every step that you do. So I put that panel on top and I worked that pull tab. Now I'm going to put my first rectangle onto the first tab by just adding some adhesive, press that in place, and I'm going to pull the pull tab to flip it over, add some liquid adhesive to the back, and then I'm going to add a second panel onto the back. And then once that sets and the glue is adhered, I'm going to push and pull that tab again to make sure everything is working. This is a great tip because if for some reason I made a mistake gluing down my panel to the tab, let's say for instance I got glue where I didn't want it and things are sticking down, it's a lot easier to fix one mistake and kind of pull that back and fix your mistake than it is to add all 3 of your flaps to both sides, so 6 panels total, and realize you've made an error and have to go back and find not only where that error is, but figure out how to fix it once that glue is fully set. So make sure that you are working that pull tab every time you're gluing something down to make sure you're getting perfect placement and everything's working well. You don't want to go through doing this whole thing only to find out you've made an error and it can't be saved. Now it's time for the fun part. I'm going to decorate my card using these adorable images that I colored and die cut in the beginning. You want to make sure that on the front of your flip flaps, you are making sure to keep the images over to the right-hand side so that they're not interfering with that fold on the left. But when you flip it over to the back, your fold is then on the right side. So you can see my little balloon on the front right panel is kind of scooched over to the side a little bit, and that's just making sure that nothing's going to interfere with that flip flap design. I added my celebrate to the bottom, and here is my finished card. Isn't it just absolutely adorable? I love these little birthday elements. I think they're so bright and happy and fun. And this card, because of the colors I chose, are perfect for anyone of any age, any gender, anyone on your birthday list. I just know they're going to smile when they receive this Flip Flap Trio card. Thanks so much for joining me, and I'll see you again soon. Bye!